Hello and welcome to Let's Review. So, anyone who saw the end of my review last week will be aware that it was my intention this week to be drunk as all hell. I figured it might ease the pain somewhat. Unfortunately, it seems that I started drinking just a little too early.
A week prior is not a little early, it is excessively early.
Martin, just don't, alright? My head feels like it's been run over repeatedly by a 10-ton truck. My stomach feels like it's trying to claw its way out through my throat. And my vision's so dodgy that I'm not entirely sure which of these cameras I should be looking at. Which, given that I've only got one setup in front of me, is something of an issue. And you know what? I think all this is a preferable experience to playing HuniePop. So let's just get on with this, shall we? Gameplay. The gameplay of HuniePop breaks down into two sections, the first of which is the world mechanics.
This is HuniePop's worldview. So from here we have a number of options. We can talk to the particular girl who we are with at the moment. Once I do that,
Just ask.
and I will gain a little bit of Hunie for that, which is used for the purchase of upgrades. And there is also money, which I will demonstrate momentarily. So, as you can see here, when you talk to them, you will either get the opportunity to ask them a question, or they will sometimes ask you a question which you must answer. Sometimes it'll be in relation to a question you've already asked them, or sometimes it will be just a general question trying to help figure out your personality. So, for example, let's ask her what her favourite place to hang out is.
Lusty's nightclub is my fucking shit!
And if you've never asked them that question before, you will gain some more of this upgrade material. In addition, you can also choose to purchase gifts using the money you have available. So you'll notice there I have $3,000, so I can buy this incredibly expensive board game and this yo-yo. Now the reason I picked those two is that they had stars next to them, which indicates that she will like them. I could also buy this unique blotter tab, which will give a boost to the percentage. You could also buy food, which is used to increase this statistic here, which is how much they're willing to talk to you at one time. Or you can buy them drinks to get them drunk, which will give a boost to this here. Again, percentage-wise, though the alcohol does wear off. Each girl will only like a specific kind of drink. However, you can quite often get them to drink other stuff as well. However, certain characters will only drink at certain times of day, usually in the evening. However, some will quite happily drink all day. If I wish to give them one of these gifts, I can do it.
Wow!
With a simple drag and
Don't start
drop.
getting all cocky on me.
And from there, I've gained some more of this upgrade material. So I can use it to upgrade the various talents which are used to help during the primary game. So for example, I can boost my sensitivity, which will reduce the damage done if I hit any of the broken heart tokens. It's also possible to check the profiles of each of the various girls, which allows you to see what gifts that you've already given them, change styles of hair to things that you've unlocked, and change clothes to things that you've unlocked. It also shows you all of the various photos that you've already unlocked for each of them, and it'll tell you which trait will be particularly effective and least effective during the actual main game. You can also ask them on a date, which I'll be demonstrating in a little while, and there's also the girl finder, which allows you to go to another one. So for example, if I go here,
Finally!
we will move on to a different location and the time will shift. There are 4 segments to the day: morning, afternoon, evening, and night.
So good to see you.
And certain girls will only be available at certain times of day, and so on and so forth. And fundamentally, that is the overworld view of HuniePop.
This, quite frankly, is rather weak. It's impossible to fail it, which is a really bad thing. It doesn't matter what you say, you are guaranteed to succeed in one manner or another. Even answering their questions wrong, forgetting their names, things like that, won't net you any negative consequences, it just won't give you anything positive. And then there's the gifts. there may be a wide selection of gifts, but there's no real point to it, because the game always tells you what each person will like. You don't have to study them and figure out what they will actually like. It'll just show you either a star or a heart to indicate if you should give it to them. And ultimately, all of this is broadly pointless. It's just there to support the date mechanics. And every date is the same. It's a match 3 game.
The game grid of HuniePop follows a fairly standard match 3 mechanic, although unusually you don't have to have two things that are right next to each other. So for example, if I wanted to match this blue here to this here, I can do that. It's able to be dragged along an entire row. As you would expect, this is fairly standard. You want to avoid getting the broken hearts because they will lose you sentiment, which is... no. They will lose you whatever this is here. I think it's affection, they call it. Sentiment, which is gained through the blue teardrops, are used to deploy these special gifts, which I will demonstrate once I actually have enough sentiment. There we go. So for example, I could consume all of the joy tokens on the grid, which are the bells, which are used to gain additional moves. So that could be useful. Or I could gain additional moves for each broken heart on the grid. Since there's a reasonable number of broken hearts, I'm going to do that.
It's too much.
And you see I've gained 3 additional moves. The the hearts are used to generate passion, which is effectively just a score multiplier. But it is useful for achieving longer games, which will be necessary, as the longer you play, the more difficult each one gets, the higher the target number you aim to achieve. So if I quickly demonstrate. Again, it's match 3, it's nothing that we haven't seen before, though it is at least competently executed. But ultimately, that's all there really is to it.
As match 3 games go, it's fine, it does what it's supposed to do, but it does get exceedingly repetitive, especially later on, even with the increasing difficulty as things go on. But one thing I do want to bring up, which I found very strange, is the way you can hand the same gifts over and over again. Now, this is explained away in the plot as part of fairy magic, but I think I need to demonstrate just how weird this is, so, Martin, have this rabbit. Why, thank you, I shall treasure it. And here, have this bear. Thank you. And now the date is over, I will have those back. Thank you very much. And we are now on a new date. Here, have this rabbit again. Why, thank you, I shall treasure it just as much. It's weird, right? Yes, I think the viewers get the point. Good. Now can I have the rabbit back, please? I think I will hang on to him for the moment. Okay. Personally, I got very bored of the gameplay, but then I got bored of things like Candy Crush. If you like that sort of thing, yeah, you'll probably like it here too. It's a perfectly fine version of a match 3 game. But ultimately, it's not really the reason that I hate this game so much. It's not the reason that I prefer head-splitting agony over it, certainly. No, that, I'm afraid, is the story. As HuniePop opens, you find yourself in a bar and are approached by a strange woman. After completely failing to talk to her like a normal human being, you retreat to your room and find that she suddenly appears there. It's now clad in bright pink and with a pair of wings. She declares her name to be Kiyu and claims that she is a love fairy who is there to help you with your love life. Well, it's not like we haven't heard of that one before. Tell me about it. My housemate at university starred in a student film with the exact same plot. She introduces you to the game's mechanics and then pushes you out the door. And that is where the problems start. So to begin, I want to bring up the racism. I beg your pardon? Oh yeah. Every time you meet a new character, Q will offer some advice and give her opinion. And on separate occasions, she uses the phrase, "I love me some chocolate," to refer to a black character, and "I have the worst case of yellow fever," to refer to an Asian character. Now maybe I'm just oversensitive, but phrases like that make me really uncomfortable. You are not the only one. Good to know. That also leads us into our second problem. All of these women are interconnected, each one leading to the next by a conversation they have when you first encounter them. As such, your ability to date every single one of them at the same time without ever being called out on it seems utterly ridiculous, as you would assume that at least one of them would mention it to the others, and sooner or later you would get lynched. Is it my imagination, or is your hangover getting better? No, I'm just powering through it with anger. The characters in this game are utterly pointless. Every single one of them falls into a very broad archetype. You have the sexy teacher, the schoolgirl cheerleader, the shy spiritual one, the nerdy repressed one, even the sodding cougar. None of them have any character beyond their broad archetype. And this whole thing ends up feeling like it's been written by a horny teenager who's never held down a conversation with another human being in their life. What's more, you don't even attempt to get to know them. The questions you ask them are shallow beyond all belief. Hi, wait, bloody cup size! And they actually answer those questions. Oh yeah, and then they might even quiz you on the answers later, because that's what a woman wants, a man who'll remember the size of her bloody boobs. One of the characters is established as having a young son, and you would think that that might be important. Nope. Gets mentioned maybe once or twice, and that's it. That does not seem realistic. You think? Speaking of children, it's also implied that Tiffany the schoolgirl is the daughter of Jesse the cougar. And you know what? That's reprehensible. It's already bad enough that you're dating all these women at the same time without telling any of them, but you add that on top of the mix, and frankly, it's just messed up. Frankly, what makes it even worse is the fact that once you've had sex with them, there is no point ever talking to them ever again. You will gain no new insights into their character. They have nothing new to say. The best you can hope for is some more of the mysterious Hunie material that you use for upgrades. It is quite often the case in games that sex is considered the final objective of a romance. I know, and I hate that fact. Now, don't get me wrong, if consenting adults decide that they want an open and purely sexual relationship, that's fine. But this game doesn't present it that way. It has you go out with the aim of deceiving these women into bed with you. And people who do that are scum. And before anybody comments, it doesn't matter if it's a man seducing a woman seducing a man, or any combination you can think of. The gender of the scumbag and the gender of the victim are irrelevant. Did you not tell me that this game also gives you the option to play as a female main character? Oh, it does! And that's a false choice if I've ever seen one. It changes nothing bar the pronouns. It's so pointless that I don't think they should have even bothered. I only noticed one bit where they actually seem to have put in a tiny bit of effort. That was in a single message from Audrey, where if you're playing as a male, it implies she will perform oral sex on you. And if you're playing as a female, she comments on it's a pity that she's not straight because she's really great at it. God, I really hate HuniePop. Incidentally, is it not actually pronounced HuniePop? Do you really think that I care at this point? I would guess not. Good guess. If they're going to spell it wrong, then I'm going to pronounce it wrong. There is nothing else to say about the story and characters of HuniePop beyond the fact that I hate them. So for the love of God, let's just move on. The art succeeds at what it wants to be, and there is at least a reasonable amount of it. There's 12 women, each with different costumes and hairstyles, plus 4 CGs each, and while at least 2 of those will drift into straight-up hentai territory, including the return of the bloody tentacle monster cliché, it is at least well-drawn hentai, so I can't fault them for that. The voice acting winds me up, but I can't tell if that's because it's bad, or just because the dialogue they're spouting is so awful. And then, of course, there's the sex minigame. And with the constant background moaning while you match 3. All that did was put me in mind of the famous I'll have what she's having scene from When Harry Met Sally. And given that the whole purpose of that scene is to establish the concept of faking it, yeah, it just sounds really forced and unrealistic to me. The music is pretty dull overall, I can barely remember it, and the sound effects are fine for what they do. Overall, the audio is just kind of meh. So, did I enjoy HuniePop? Oh dear God, no. Should you buy it? Absolutely not. I've heard some people claim that this game is just dumb fun, and by the end I would end up enjoying the satire. But here's the thing. If this game's meant to be satirical, I can't tell. And that means that it's failed at being satire. I hate this game. Not because it fails in what it wants to do, but because what it is offends me as a person. Now maybe that just means that my skin is too thin, that I need to learn to take a joke and enjoy it in the fun spirit it was meant to embody, but I can't do that. I hate this game, and ultimately a review is just a personal opinion. And my personal opinion is that you should stay the hell away from it. If you like it, that's fine, but I don't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to find some painkillers. I will see you later. You know, I'm beginning to worry about him. Yes, but knowing and understanding are two very different things. No, of course not, but it is difficult to fight that which you do not understand. And that is not exactly much of a compliment, is it? Or he will die. No, of course not. I will do everything in my power. I just hope that it will be enough.